As an academy owner, you work hard to build trust with your students, their parents, and your community. But trust isn't something you claim, it's something you prove and earn. That's where Academy Safe comes in. We help academies like yours stand out with verified safety standards. Background checks for all staff, U.S. Center for Safe Sports certification, concussion training, defibrillators on site, CPR, first aid, and AED certification, security cameras, rank and lineage checks, and verification of business insurance. Join the trusted martial arts registry that's redefining safety throughout North America. Lead by example. Show parents you're accredited with Academy Safe.
Hello, and welcome to My Empty Hands, a podcast about the martial arts, typically focused on Kempo, but we give love to all the martial arts around here. As per usual, I am Reggie Darden, and I have another wonderful guest with me today, Barbara Fava, and we are going to get into her story, her journey, and whatever other rat holes that we get onto, we'll do that as well. So I usually start things off by just giving a little bit of my background. I currently train in multiple martial arts at this point, American Kempo, Hapkido, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and Capoeira. I also have some experience in Taekwondo and did a little bit of boxing while I was in the Army. So that's my story, and I'm sticking to it. So we're going to go ahead and turn it over to our wonderful guest today, and we're going to find out how did the martial arts find you? Where did it all start? What is your kind of origin story? And then we'll just kind of go from there. So take it away.
Thank you so much for having me today. Well, my name is Barbara Fava. I'm Italian. Actually, I'm half Italian, half Czech. My mom was from Czech Republic. My dad is Italian. And mi corazón es mexicano. I lived so many years in Mexico. And so, I would say that, I may be Italian, but my heart is Mexican. So,
verdad. I like it.
Yeah, and hey, I'm like the mixed martial arts in Latino speaking. I'm a third. I come from a third generation actually of martial artists. My grandpa was a third Shotokan black belt. My dad is a fifth dan Shotokan black belt, and I'm a first dan. So, but I'm also the first lady in my family to actually become a martial artist. And I think that, when you have such a family, especially coming from my dad and my grandpa, who were being schooled, their sensei was the maestro Shirai, who unfortunately passed away a couple of years ago. You feel this kind of heavy but beautiful atmosphere. I may say that I grown up breathing karate. Like all I wanted in my life was becoming strong and a fighter like my dad, which actually then later in life happened.
Very nice. Now, was that something that he encouraged or pointed you to that direction, or did you just kind of come up with that on your own?
No, actually, I was a pretty feisty kid because my favorite game to do with dad was fighting, and I remember that once I went full MP on his nose, and my dad was not amused by that. But then later in life, I was jumping on the sofa and all those kind of things. But later in life, when I was 11 years old, that's when I officially asked my dad, I want to do karate with you, so take me to the dojo. And my dad was like, are you sure? Because this is not going to be easy. There are not courses for kids, It was the mid-90s, so I was like, yeah, I don't care. I'm going to train with you. Back then, courses for kids were not a thing. Courses for ladies were not a thing. Women in karate were a very few ladies, mainly coming from Hiroshi Shirai dojo. So they were like, you could count them on your hand. And then I remember that I started, and I was in a group full of adults. And I remember this particular time because I was small, like I was 11 years old, so I was just a kid. On my on my social media, I posted a few weeks ago that I found out where my booklet was. So it was very nice to see myself, little karateka me, like back in the days. And I remember that once there was this orange or green belt, I don't remember, but he was a huge guy. He was literally big. I remember I was looking up like this, and this guy went full Tsuki in my plexus. And I just disinflated myself like a paper bag in the wind, and my dad saw that. And the other black belts saw that. And in the dojo, there's one rule: don't touch the kids. That guy, he told me later that when they went back to the lockers, like my dad just went full Tsuki in one of those metal lockets that they had there, and he bent it. And he said, the next time that you're going to touch my daughter, this is going to be your face. And I never saw that guy ever again. But that was a something. I was small, but everybody was protecting me. It was just me and the daughter, Francesca, the daughter of Maestro Pietro Costa. We were the only two kids in there, So the black belts were very protective with us. And that was something I remember. I remember once I did a black eye to my dad, and it was he just grabbed me like from behind, and it was like, now you have to free yourself. And me like just went pam, full head in, and I got the black eye. And my dad was going around so proud that his daughter made him a black eye, and all the black belts were like, oh, she's promising.
Very nice. Very nice. Now, so growing up in that was kind of were you kind of always I guess kind of always on the clock, so to speak, in that since your grandfather and your father were training all the time, would they kind of always, were you always kind of in a karate lesson in a just doing the chores? Are you kind of like a Karate Kid? Or you
I was Karate Kid even before the movie. Like later on, like made this. I should have been a bell in my parents' head. Maybe my obsession with martial artists could have been already ding 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 ding. Hey, maybe I'm autistic, but no, this didn't happen. But my grandpa, unfortunately, he passed when I was 3 years old. It was a very prominent figure of clubbing, like nightclubs. We had Ava Gardner and Joe DiMaggio coming to the clubs in Milan. So my family was always on newspapers and so on. And unfortunately, he died in one of the clubs. There was a fight and his heart gave up. So my grandpa actually never made it to see me becoming a martial artist, a karateka. And that's why when I won my first world title, you can see that I'm holding a black and white picture with me on the podium. And that's one of the pictures that I have from my grandpa, Dina Karategi, while he was training. So I brought him with me on the podium. I think that having a supporting family is everything, because I know there are a lot of parents that when it comes to daughters, they're kind of like, no, you're going to get hurt. My mom was like that. I grew up with my stepmom, actually. She adopted me when I was 11. My mom left Italy, and I grew up with my dad. Like, when I had to choose, like, who I wanted to stay with, I said dad. So my mom, like my biological mom, she was always kind of not really into wanting me to fight. She was scared I was going to get hurt. My dad, on the other side, he was fine, but he told me don't use that at school unless they're bullying you. So, and my stepmom, who I love very much, like she's my best friend. We're about to go on holiday together, like in about 20 days in Italy. And she has always been very supportive of me. My brother, he's into kickboxing. He's a former karateka. He arrived to the brown belt and then he dropped because he had to wait a few years to become a black belt and he didn't want to wait. But now, yeah, he's into kickboxing and he went full in because like 3 months after he started training, which I was still like telling him, close your guard, you're gonna get hurt. He got hurt and he got the ribs cracked. And yeah, the doctor say you're out for 60 days. And my brother, instead of staying chill and calm at home, he just booked a flight to Thailand and he went to train in Thailand.
Yeah, you can't tell us martial artists to not train.
No, indeed. Like my parents back me. Like the next time that Andrea wants to go to Thailand to train, please go with him. At least there is somebody supervising what he's doing over there. I mean, he's 25 years old. Obviously, he's an adult, but I have 40 years. I'm from 1986, so I'm 40. So maybe I'm a little bit more. I would say that compared to him, he's an adult, but I'm a premium adult in this case. So I have to keep an eye on my little brother when he wants to open the ring with some. Yeah, he had a fight actually, but I've seen the guy, and the guy was being very nice and chill with my brother because yeah, obviously, like I saw this guy in other fights and I was not like that. So I'm happy that he came back in one piece, but I told him, yeah, next time he's going to be with me.
Very nice, very nice.
Yeah.
So since you've grown up in the arts, was there ever a point where you're like, maybe I don't want to do this for life, or have you just always been into it?
I have been always very much into it. I remember my dad at one point withdrawing me from karate due to school because high school in Italy is very demanding. I was already doing sports at school, but for me it was very, very sad. Indeed, all I was doing was playing martial arts with video games, Mortal Kombat. I grew up with Street Fighter 2. That was my first, and Ryu was my to go because he remembered me of my dad, structurally, physically, like that was my dad, like so. I was like, that's my dad on the screen right there. Yeah, give it. Yeah, beat Chun-Li or whatever was her name, the girl with the kick like this, and that was it. But then I started traveling a lot. I lived for a brief time of my life in LA. And then I got a call for Mexico City, where I established myself for many years, over 6 years. And over there I was working as an actress for Telemundo in the telenovelas.
Oh.
So maybe your grandma knows me from there. Like I very like it.
Maybe I've seen it. I've watched a little bit.
Yeah, it could be. I was in La Querida del Centauro. I was a boxer. I was a boxing girl. Like her name was Irma. That was my character. And then I had Guerra de Ídolos. And there I would just hold my name, Barbara. That was it. I was a rocker. And technically we were in Miami. Practically it was Mexico City. You know how the industry worked. But, and aside of that, I was the official voice for Monster Energy LATAM. So it means that, when they were like, and I was specializing actually in extreme sports. So we're talking about mainly freestyle motocross and jet ski, all those kind of things where crazy people doing crazy things. I was stunting. I'm a former professional stunt. I have a few memories out of my career. So yeah, and then they sent me all the way over to Indonesia to be the MC for MXGP of Asia. And I remember it was the rain season. And at one point, I just gave up with shoes and I just bought myself Crocs because I was just like sinking in mud the whole day under the rain with my microphone. I was like, and it was humid. And I remember it was humid. So, it was a very complicated for me back in the days where I was in the cinema, because I also did movies. I shoot also a couple of movies and mainly TV series, to be able to pursue my martial arts. I mean, I was incorporating kind of when I was lucky, because obviously when they told me your character is gonna be a boxing girl and you're gonna be all day boxing, 14 hours a day, throwing punches, I was so happy. So happy. That was my highlights as an actress. But then it was very complicated to follow as I wanted a life in the dojo, because I was 14 hours a day on set, and then I was going home, and then they were calling back. You stop recording maybe at 12 midnight, 1 in the morning, and then you have to be back on set at 4 or 5 a.m. So it would have been a disaster. Like, I would have stayed an orange belt forever. So that was it. And then when I moved back, I relocated back to Europe to stay closer to my parents, because in the meanwhile, my biological mom was not doing very well. That's when I found the dojo I'm in now, the Okinawa Karate Club Herentals. I'm based in Belgium. And I got lucky, very lucky, because my sensei, Frans van de Vel, is the former coach of the national team. He was also coaching Junior Lefebvre in his prime time. So he's hard. He's 80 now. He's over 80, but that guy, whoa, how he bends and kicks and everything. Like, I just praying God to give me the strength to arrive to his age like him. He's alpha biomechanical, I guess, now, because he got something like the knees got replaced and the hips and the back, but still is he's half robotic, but he's doing very well. So yeah, that's my proof that karate gives you a long lifespan. So.
Oh yeah, so it's definitely the fountain of youth. If you keep training and keep taking care of yourself and just keep working, there's no reason why you can't get up to your 80s and still get out there and make it happen. So yeah, definitely, I like that. So then. Let's talk about the competition side of it. So you're a multiple world champion. When did the competition side of your journey start? And were you always wanting to get into competition, or was it kind of forced on you? How did that all start?
When I was a child, it was obviously not a thing for kids. I mean, we didn't even have courses for that. So for karate, for kids. So imagine having competitions. That was craziness. Aside that back then, karate was still without protections. And indeed, my dad is obsessed with the mouth guard. Is the one that helped me molding the one that I have now, and it's with the Italian flag. And I'm always joking and say, so at least they know their knockout is which country is gonna send them to sleep for a while. With my beautiful smile, bam, and straight into the nose. But I would say that I started competing when I was a green belt, and first shot was straight podium gold. I specialize in kata, which is obviously technique. It's a lot of technical things, and you have to be very precise, very on time, have the good rhythm. It's a little bit like dancing, and maybe my background as a child when I studied. At one point, my parents, for some weird reason, they decided me, because I was dancing a lot as a kid. I had a lot of energy, and that's also part of my ADHD. I move a lot. So I was doing karate, I was dancing. So they decided to put me in a theater, a Teatro Carcano in Milan, where I could study properly. Unfortunately for me, I wanted to do hip hop, which I did. but I also had to forcefully follow classical dance. And just remember this Russian teacher telling me, you have very bad arms. And every time that now I see my arms and the damage that they can do, I'm like, yeah, I may have ugly arms or bad arms or whatever, but they're very good for karate. So, it's just about finding your way. Like, I was really enjoying a lot of dancing hip hop, and still it's one of my favorite kind of music. I'm always like dancing in the car and, singing and everything. But you need to have a lot of sense of rhythm when you're doing a kata. And that's helping me a lot, also with the flexibility. And then slowly but steady, I started to approach myself also to kumite. This has been very recently. I started competing in kumite when I was already a brown belt. But that's also a promise I made to my dad because he said, they're gonna knock you out. He was really scared for me, so I promised him, and I kept my promise. And indeed, I started competing later on. But I already collected, quite a few medals. The thing that really was a turning point was when I switched of coach. And that's something very important that people, the majority of people don't have consideration of, they're like, oh yeah, whatever, that's the coach, I'm good. My kid is going to be with that guy, or my daughter is going to be with that guy. No, it's a match. And I've wrote about it in the book that I wrote about karate and para-karate. Like, I wrote about it. Like, the coach is everything. Like, if today, like, on my bio, I have that I'm twice a world champion just because I put 2024, 2025. But actually, inside of the competition, on both occasions, I won multiple golds and multiple silvers. So, yeah, I would have to put on the whole thing, but I'm like, okay, I'm just going to keep it humble and just going to put, like, 2 times world champion, 1 time European champion, because it doesn't feel like that. I know there are some colleagues of mine that they like to put the numbers, like 18 golds and but no. I don't want to do that. That's too much. Like, they can scroll on my Instagram and if they want to see that. But my coach, Danny Verlinden, is a 4th dan in Shotokan. And man, that guy is tough. That's the kind of guy that if you have the very poor life decision of messing with him in a bar and you punch him and he just starts laughing, you want to run up of the heels. Like, I swear, like, he's just punching like a wall. Like, I've been punching him now that I'm a black belt after he's been training me already now for, I would say, almost 3 years. And now he's starting to feel my punches or my kicks. And he's starting to be like, okay, that's good. But he's strong. Like, that's yeah, no, really. And with him, I started, doing good and feeling confident. Also because when I got my autism and ADHD diagnosis, I was already 38 years old. So, unfortunately for ladies, autism is a novelty. Like, they just found out that also women can be autistic and ADHD like about 6-7 years ago top. So obviously I went on road dogging my whole life without having a diagnosis, just trying to understand how to do that, even if it was like, I think, clear as the sun. That was that. But Danny has really a way to talk to me and to make me understand what I have to do and how I have to do it. And he also met my dad through video call, and they are the same age. So it's really nice because it's like having my dad. He comes with me to competitions and, they have also more or less the same attitude. So it's very nice. My dad he lives in Italy, so we are about 1,000 kilometers far away. So he's happy that I'm in good hands.
Very nice, very nice, very nice. So with the kind of the late diagnosis of the autism and the ADHD, kind of thinking back in your training, were there any kind of signs or anything, or any kind of maybe struggles and stuff that at the time you didn't realize it, but now after having the diagnosis, it's like, oh wait, yeah, there was this presenting itself, or kind of any points like that in your training.
Yeah, when I first started, when I was a kid, when I was 11, my sensei, Livio Esposito, who's a very well known in the Italian panorama for being extremely hard. And he also said that was very hard on you when you were a child, that you didn't deserve that. And I was like, no, I did deserve, because if I remember things still after like 20 plus years, it's because you taught me well. But he was very sharp when he was giving direction. So for me, that was very clear. When you are autistic or ADHD, you need somebody to talk clearly. You don't need things and no, just say things as they are. Like, tell me you need to do this, and boom, show me how to do it. I'm gonna do it. Like, it's a pattern, and we are pretty good in replicating patterns or recognizing patterns. Like they say that autistic and ADHD people, they have like some kind of sixth sense, and yeah, that's what it's about, the pattern recognition. And then I had a brief moment with this other black belt, who's a very nice guy, is also a fifth dan, so he's even above my my actual coach. But unfortunately, his way of showing me things and of explaining me things was not really matching with me. He was losing himself a lot. So for me, that was very complicated. It was working very well with other athletes, but with me, it was no, it was not working. So when I asked straight to France, can Danny be my coach for the World Championship? It was a little bit, I would say, Russian roulette, because I got the invitation, I think it was a little bit over a month before my first World Championships in 2024, which were held in Dublin, in Ireland. And it was like, now you want to change coach? And I said, yes, because otherwise I'm not going to make it. And I knew that Danny was the right person, because when he was explaining me things and techniques, I was immediately having a grip on them, and I was doing it. So he coached me, and I'm not kidding, that was the hardest month of my entire career as a karateka. Like, between the anxiety, which was staggering, like it was skyrocketing, because, I was I wouldn't say old, but compared to other people, I was like, my gosh, like I'm plus 35, and I'm gonna go to Ireland and have to compete with people that are half of my age, more flexible, and blah blah blah. And but Danny really also made a great job with my psychological side. He told me, you just have to be you. You are strong. You have presence when you step on the tatami. Like, we have seen it, because I competed obviously in provincial, regional, those kind of, like, I went straight from regional, provincial to World Championships. That was a little bit a stretch, and when I arrived there and I had to compete, I think 3 or 4 times that day, it was hard. I was anxious, yes, but I knew I belonged there. I was like, this is it. This is me. Look at me. I'm gonna go for it. And I did. And I was just in disbelief. I came back with 4. I was like, I didn't even know if I was going to, to go on the podium. And boom, first World Championship, I came back with 4 medals. In all the categories I was in, I came back, I was on the podium. That was it. So from that moment on, I started training, as an elite athlete. I made the skip straight from, she's competing to the provincial to boom, she's an elite fighter. So, and at one point, I got so much, I train with both Danny and Chris. Chris is our seventh Dan. He's tall. Like I'm tall. I'm 1 meter 73, but he's taller than me. And that guy comes from the police, so he has a, he's streetwise when it comes to fighting. And they always, between him and Danny, they taught me, and they're still teaching me how to protect myself even on the street. And I have to say that if I have to decide who I like to fight with between women and men, I will say men. Because, I'm considered like a heavyweight. I had a problem with my thyroid, which is hypothyroidism, and also posteriors to the earthquake of 2017 in Mexico City, where I was. I just came back from the gym and it started the whole earthquake. I just went, I ran out. I was in the shower, I just grabbed my towel and I ran out, as I was just holding my cat for my dear life. I was like, the rest I can't buy it back. I don't care. Like, it doesn't matter. Just I took the most important thing, which was my cat Kawa. She's still with me, and that was it. But I helped a lot, and I was actually during that time my ADHD kicked in. I don't know if you know this, but people with ADHD tend to be extremely cold in heavy risk situations. That's why most of the firefighters are ADHD or they have some kind of, neurodivergency. And I managed to both help organizing the motorcycle. I made a call on social media for all of my friends because I was stunting back then as a motorcycle stunt. So I made a call and all of my friends came in the Zocalo, which is the main square of Mexico City. And we were transporting paramedics, firefighters, medicine. And I still remember that back then I had to transport also the adrenaline, refrigerated adrenaline on my back with my motorcycle to the Colegio Repsamen, which was the primary school which collapsed. So on that moment I was fine, but then the trauma my body went in kicked me back and it started making me gain weight. Like my body started thinking we were constantly in some kind of fight or flight, like I don't know. It was like when the doctor explained to me, it was like, look, it's like if you're in the medieval times and your body is just storing fat, as you're like some medieval peasant having to face the Black Plague. That was how he explained to me. So like, okay, what we can do about it? So obviously training hard, food, taking medication for the thyroid and so on. And now I'm doing better, but still I'm a heavyweight now with 87 kilos. And it's not easy. Like when you fight with girls, like, ping, and then fly. And when I train with men, it's fun for me. Like, it's fun. Like I cornered brown belts, first dance, etc. I have a lot of fun. When there's always those guys that they come to the dojo or, that's in every martial arts that they think it's full. Social media is full of those videos that they think they can get over women fighting. And there was this guy who's being pretty nasty with my friends. So I was like, I'm gonna go for it. And I went fully in and I just cornered him and I was really fun. From that moment on, he stopped being a nuisance for ladies in the dojo. But yeah, that's when when you fight and you train, and you get kicks in the head and punches in the head. The last time was I got a tsuki, mawashi tsuki here on my cheekbone, and I went. I felt a little bit like in the cartoons when they have birdies flying around the head. That was a little bit the thing. But that's when I said, I want to do this in a competition. And I did. Unlucky for her, one of my opponents in the last championship where I did kumite was also one of my best friends. And she's about to become a black belt, but she's still a brown belt. And she really tried her best to get hold of me, but one punch she just rolled on the tatami, and I was like, where are you going? Come back. So yeah, like I love her very much. It's Jasmine. Like we're very friends. She's half Thai, so she just got me this from Thailand. Like,
oh, very nice.
Yes. Like she's very nice, and we always compete together. Like we go together to championships and so on. Yeah, that's it. So yeah, kata will always be my first love, but kumite also is where my fire comes out.
Very nice. I like it. So let's talk about your book. We kind of touched on that a little bit, but let's get into the book. What was the catalyst to get you to write a book, and tell us all about it.
I wrote the karate that chose me when I started my, I would say, my journey to become a national para karate coach or inclusive coach. Because there are a lot of manuals, but having a book which is this is my experience as an insider. Like indeed on the cover says a practical and human guide to para karate from a para karateka. And I observe a lot. In championships. I observe the athletes, the coaches, the families, how they support the kids, how the various disabilities play a role into martial arts. And I decided to write it because I thought that when I was a child, I would have died for a book like this. And also when I got my diagnosis, because nowadays we talk a lot about inclusion, but to have a true inclusion, there's also has to be a lot of empathy. And this is something that it's not always present. And for example, I don't know if you know it, but the WKF, so the World Karate Federation, they implemented the various categories. So you have a K20, which is for intellectual impairments, and then you have K21 and so on, Down syndrome, wheelchair, blind, deaf, like whatever you want. They also made a category for autistics athletes, and it's the K23. But it has never been implemented in a competition. So it means that nowadays, people like me, we have to compete outside the World Karate Federation circle, or we can step into competitions, but as regular para karatekas. I mean karatekas. So it means competing with people who are not autistics. So it's heavy. I do that from time to time, but it's heavy. Like indeed, I'm always around with my headphones or I have plugs in my ears until it's the time to go on the tatami. And also the pointing system, it's not the same, etc., etc. So I really wanted to write something which is a statement of what's to do and what not to do. I talk also about, for example, autistic elopement, which is when an autistic athlete may run away because overwhelmed from the situation. It happened to me, Jasmine, she's autistic. On my in my case, I'm autistic, I'm ADHD, but I'm also considered gifted. So my IQ stands, I think it was about 145, something like that. Yeah, me and my brother, we have both very high IQs. So for us, neurodivergency is something, but it's manageable, and plus having autism and ADHD, the two of it are opposite to each other, so they can pull one on the side, on the side, so more or less it's balanced. Jasmine, she's fully autistic, and plus she has other disabilities. So what happened is that I've seen her having a lot of issues during the years with sound, lights, people. She go fully shut down herself. She's gonna stop talking if it's too much. So I learned how to communicate with her, like not saying reading her mind, but almost. Now I can finally follow her officially as a coach, but I've been doing this since she started competing. So I really wanted to write something that if somebody has a kid with a disability and this kid manifests an interest in martial arts, whatever. I wrote about karate, obviously, because it's my thing, right? But it could be about Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, it could be about boxing, it could be about Muay Thai, whatever you want. I mean, in the end, it all comes from the same root. And how to apply it, how to decorate if the coach is the right one, and what to do if your student shuts down, and like what to look at and what to I will say not how to say that, not to care about, but what it's not really important, where you have to support somebody with a disability. Because from time to time, for example, in our case of autistic people, like people think that they have this kind of Hollywood kind of image of autistic people, which is a little bit like Rain Man. Indeed, one of the questions that it's more frequent is like, oh, so you're very good at maths. No, I'm not. I didn't get that flavor of autism. I have the animals and martial arts flavored autism. So no, I cannot count 2 plus 2, but I can make you basically a full training program in less than 15 minutes. So that's it. But, like, there's still this misconception somehow that people with autism or ADHD have a low IQ. And therefore, we have several issues with that, for example, with the World Karate Federation, because they tend to put us in the K20 category, which is for mental impairment. And obviously, like, things go quite unpaired, I would say, because obviously if you put somebody who has a mental impairment with somebody who doesn't have it, and it has a neurodivergency, like it just, the brain works differently. It's not like it's less, it's different. Like I always explaining this to people, like, look, you're a Windows, I'm an Apple. Okay, that's the difference between the two systems. So that's why I wrote the book, because I think that the more people get in touch with parasport, the more they're going to understand the beauty behind it. Because I've seen so many people, people without arms, without legs, people being blind and making the jump of Unsu, which is a 360 jump in the air and landing it perfectly. I've seen, I have my friends that they have Down syndrome, that they just go, and now one of them is going to represent Belgium at the JKS Brazilian World Games. I wanted to go there and I got an invitation, but I couldn't make it because I have other appointments. So yeah, but they're going and they're gonna represent the country at their best. I know them. So it's just, people, It's like people think that Paralympics, parasports are less of a sport, or they require less of something, and it's not. Because our trainings are just like regular trainings. For example, for us in the autism spectrum, I'm talking about not the hardcore, non-verbal, not movement kind of autism, but for example, for me and Jasmine, trainings are just as regular ones. So it's hard, and you need to prepare yourself physically a lot. But yeah, it's just that people talk a lot about inclusivity, but as I said earlier, like if there's no empathy, we're not going anywhere. And empathy is something that either you have or you don't have inside of you. There's nothing, and nobody can teach you how to be able to connect on the deep level with somebody and understand the struggle of this person and saying, hey, I got you.
Yeah, no, very, very well said. Yeah, I like that you say that, it definitely is not, we're no one group or anything like that is less than another one. It's just different. Doesn't mean, whatever situation that you have, it doesn't take away from someone else's journey. It's just a different path.
Exactly.
And we one of the great things about martial arts is that it can connect us all. Regardless of what style it is, what we're doing, regardless of whether we're competing or not, or whatever it is, but we still all have this common thing that we want to be able to train. We want to get to our black belt. We want to, whatever that goal is. We still all have it, regardless of the path that we need to take to get that. So, yeah, it's important. We need to not lose sight of that, and we all want to kind of reach that goal together, and not just. This group can do it and this group can't, and that sort of thing. So yeah, I really like that. That you're fighting the good fight, and it's a worthy cause that we definitely all need to be more aware of and supportive of. So very nice. I like that. So kind of, I guess, kind of going back a little bit then. The teaching side of it, when did that start for you, and was that something you were always interested in, or like many a guest that I've had, it was forced upon them? And
No, nobody forced me ever. Like it started because I always had this thing about wanting to help others, like people, animals. Uh, I'm a love fighter, and human fighter. Like I really root for people to success and have the best time of their life. And when I when I met Jasmine, she was actually the sparkle that ignites all of this, because I started. I understood that she was doing better when I was there, and she was listening to me. She stopped eloping, running away, and then we started also competing together. I was being her buddy in competitions. So when I understood that I was really having my soul nurtured by helping others in achieving their dreams, which could be, from grading in martial arts to competing. And like aside, like it's also my full-time job. I'm actually a tutor for languages. I teach English, Spanish, and Italian, also the three literatures, and I specialized in people with learning disabilities. So I really I'm I would say, the hardest fan of my students. I really like when they arrive to the end of the year and they succeed. Really makes me is us is it fills my heart with so much happiness that I cannot even explain. So when I saw that Jasmine was actually getting better and she was somehow maturing as a karateka, and she was putting more of herself in, I said, okay, this is it. I need to start studying properly. So that's when I started studying with Eric Bortels. Eric is a seventh dan, is also the president of the JKS, Japan Karate Shotokan. It's the federation from Shihan Kagawa. I also had the pleasure of training with Shihan Kagawa the beginning of this year, and is a very lovely person. Is completely like on the tatami. Is very strong. Is very severe. Is also very funny, and then outside from the tatami is a very lovely person. And I started taking lessons from Eric, because Eric invented this whole system with ICP, with MOVE, and with the IKF, which is the Inclusive Karate Federation, to teach kids and people with colors and images, instead of telling them go left, go right, because for some disability it may be too much direction. So for example, I have here indeed the bracelets that I use with my students. They are in silicone because kids tend to scratch themselves a lot. People with autism, also myself included, we don't really tolerate so well like spongy bracelets, so we have those for people with autism. And it took me quite the effort, because I'm also full-time student at university. I'm in a BA for languages and literature. So it's a whole thing. I'm always like either working, studying, doing. But my spare time. Most of my time is spent at the dojo, or my weekends. This is the first weekend off that I have, just because now we are on holidays. The season is gonna start again in September, and my first appointment are gonna be the World Games at with the IKF in Budapest in October. So just I start with a bang already. Open the season with the World Championships, but I learned a lot. Eric is very tough as a instructor. He made us train on the wheelchairs. He made us train blindfolded, to fully understand how to help people, like to experience the kind of disability that they have. And and now I'm, obviously I'm gonna specialize on neurodivergency, because I can fully understand that from the inside. But now that I'm officially a national para karate coach, I feel like I have a purpose in life, which is, if you look back at my curriculum, and sometimes I get asked, like, they are like, yeah, but you were on TV, you were like in stadiums, you were every day like acting somewhere. Don't you miss that? I would say maybe a little bit, but just because I was feeling like in some kind of families then with the troops, because in the end there were always the same cameramen and people that were working together on the different TV series. But I have a feeling that now with karate, I came back home, because that's where I started, but also I found a new purpose in life, which can be extremely rewarding on the human side, and that's something that nothing can replace. So I'm happy
exactly.
with my decision.
Exactly. Yeah, that's one of the reasons why I say that martial arts chooses you versus you choosing martial arts, in that for you, you were not able to kind of do your best work, reach the most people. Had you stayed in the acting and the stunts like that. For somebody else, maybe that is the way that they reach people, is through the acting. But for you, it's through the teaching, it's through the competing, things like that. And you know that
Well,
was your calling, and not something else. So
I have to say that when I was stunting, I was doing live stunt shows. Like, I was not a stunt on TV. Yeah, partially, but I was doing my own stunts because, yeah, why do I need somebody to come and box when I can box myself, right? So, and plus I was having fun. Why are you taking away Irma was like, and they were like, yeah, but you're sweaty. I was like, yeah, that's the point. I'm boxing. Like, what do you expect me to look like? Somebody just coming out from the Met Gala? Like, that's not gonna happen. So I was doing my falls and everything, but as a stunt, I was mainly working in live events. So I was always surrounded by people, and it's plenty of pictures of me talking with people. I was always the last one leaving because I really enjoyed the human side of it, and I worked obviously for free for a few shows. For Teleton Mexico, where we went to those centers where they take care of highly disabled people, and we were doing stunts with the motorcycles over there. Or I was just, we were going en los barrios más pobres de Mexico City. Entonces, in the poorest, let's say, areas of Mexico City, and we were doing shows there for nothing, just to entertain the kids over there. I remember this kid once, and she came to me and she said, "Are those your real eyes?" Because I have blue eyes, like gray eyes, blue eyes. And she was mesmerized because she has never seen somebody with this color. Like, for her, eyes were only brown, and I remember she wanted to take a picture with me very, very, very close to show to her friends that she met somebody with blue eyes. And and those are the moments that made me feel that I was doing something cool. It was not, yeah, of course, like, I've been exhibiting myself also in arenas, and I was only the only one woman standing there. I had records. I got Estrella de la Policía Federal, like they awarded me and my group with a star at the value for after a show of us. Of our, like, with the Federal Police of Mexico City, because we were promoting the use of helmets over there, because helmets are not really a thing over there still. I spent 6 years of my life saying that every day of my life, and then boom, no, back to square one. Cool, I need to go back there. But it's really, I feel I have a purpose when I can go over a place and make somebody feel better, or have a moment of relief, or igniting that sensation of, if she made it, I can make it. And lighting up dreams of people, it's something that is the best thing as a human being that you can do, because you're giving hope to people who have none left. It's something that requires quite the spirit, I would say. And because of all the love that I received, the support that I received, starting from my dad and my coach, and my family, my friends, like, I have a feeling that I need to give back. And becoming a para karate coach, it's the best thing. Like, now we have some plans of bringing the inclusive karate over to Mexico, and I can't wait for that. I can't wait because I saw with my own eyes and how much sadness is when there is a kid that would like to do something, but there are no, I would say, the correct coaches or places where this kid can actually train, and going over there and schooling and being able to bring structure. I like that. And yeah, that's my next big project. Like, like I started dreaming of me becoming a black belt. That's where it started, like when I was 11 years old, and now I'm here already. World championships, European championships, gold medals, trophies, and I became a national coach. I'm living my wildest dreams as a martial artist, and also having a lot of inspiration. Like, I have people I look up, and I'm like, okay, this guy, like, for example, one of my favorite fighters is Lyoto Machida.
Oh, nice. Nice.
Yeah, that people are like, karate doesn't work on the street. Yeah, say that to Lyoto Machida. It makes me laugh because, like, it's always like, these, like, get up, and when they don't get up, it's like, okay, us. And he bows, like, he has a lot of respect for his opponents, and that's, like, he's really, really, really inspiring. And from a technical perspective, I love so much that he brought Shotokan, timing, distance, footwork, and counterattacks in MMA. When many people like say that karate wouldn't work there, he proved that karate is not outdated. You just have to know how to use it. Like, of course, like, people, like, when they're saying, yeah, but karate don't work on this. Yeah, of course, like, hello, do you think I'm gonna start doing kata when I'm on the street? Like, those, like, videos on social media? Like, that's not gonna work. Like, that's why I train close combat. I'm pretty good at it. So, and I would say that if I have to say another name that it's quite inspiring, but not on a technical level, this is more on a personal level, I would say Ryan Guzman.
Oh, nice.
Yeah. That most people know him from TV. Honestly, my TV is there, but it's there because I play with my Nintendo. So, yeah, I know that he's an actor, but yeah, my knowledge, like, it's based on martial arts. I read some interviews of him, and he's someone whose fighting spirit and resilience inspire me, because he's been also through a lot in his life, and he's still, standing up. And obviously, like, if I had to put in an octagon Lyoto Machida and Ryan Guzman, I would warmly suggest to Ryan to take a hike for the hills and run away, because I wouldn't end up well. But
nice.
No, actually, I met the guy a couple of weeks ago, and he's a very nice, down-to-earth guy. And he told me that if he will ever, like, drop acting, he would go back to fighting. And I was like, yeah, that's nice. That's what I did. And they were like, how? And I was like, I was acting on Telemundo, and then I dropped to go back to the dojo. So yeah.
Very nice, very nice. I like that. I like that. You mentioned about the having the karate represented in the MMA, and we, as martial artists, we always get into these conversations about, oh, well, this wouldn't work in the street and that and stuff like that. And I've always laughed at that idea or that argument, in that if it didn't work, people wouldn't teach it anymore. That you could say that with every art.
People are so like, how, like, you can just look at it. Like, we do the same round kick. We do the same punches. We all use the elbows. Yeah, in karate, maybe you don't see it very often, but we do use the MP. That's MP, MP, MP. Like, we do that. That's like in Muay Thai, they have that. Kickboxing, if you put me and my brother fighting, like, it's just the same. It's just that, yes, those very fancy shorts.
Yeah. Yeah.
No,
yeah,
sorry,
yeah.
but it's that when I think about the outfits of my brother when he was training in Thailand, I'm never gonna stop bullying him for that. He had some so those shorts. He bought some shorts with those ribbons, and it was a tiger print. And I was like, "Oh, you look so damn fancy, Andrea!" Like, but
That's
you know,
very
it's
nice.
it all comes from the same root. So it's just stupid that people keeps on discussing on social media. Ah, this works. No, that doesn't work. That, but it doesn't matter. It doesn't matter. Like, if I go and I use my knee, if I go down in a MMA octagon and I use my knee, it's not because I do Muay Thai. It's because also in karate we have Hisagiri, which is with the knee, like the elbows, like the punches, like, and you know, Lyoto Machida is the perfect example of this. It's a perfect example because it comes from a same style, Shotokan, which is the traditional kind of karate. So if it works there, I mean, it's gonna work also on the street. Like, of course, people are like, yeah, but you can't stop a bullet. And no, because you're not even. I'm not gonna give you the time of taking out the gun. Like, that's the thing. Like, before you even know it, you're already hugging the floor. Like, you're keeping like company to the floor. Like, I'm not gonna allow you to take up a gun on me. I'm gonna send you knockout. Mors tua, vita mea, the Latin used to say. So it's my life, your death. Like, it doesn't matter. Like, that's the rule of the street. And yeah, like this thing about, you know, MMA, I did in Mexico City always for Monster Energy some MC of some matches for mixed martial arts, and it was so funny because I remember this time there was these two guys, and they stepped, and yeah, the judge gave a round, and we were still introducing them because you know that in Mexico you have name, surname of the dad and surname of the mom, so it's quite long, the whole thing. And we were still introducing the two fighters, and one of them was already KO. And I remember that I was live on TV and was like, well, I didn't even have the time to introduce him, but the one that went KO was, and I said, I was fast. I was like, that was 7 seconds fight. Like, I was laughing, like people were like, one went just KO, and you're laughing because of course I'm laughing. I come from karate, like it's not something that I never seen, like blood, broken bones, like fractures. Once Jasmine fractured me this finger, and I remember that I had to do the katas, like I had the cast on it for quite a few times. So when I was doing the katas, like it was as I was pointing, and people started making fun of me as John Travolta in Saturday Night Fever. Yes, because like you know, getting bullied on a personal side, it's also nice in the dojo. I was like, guys, you need to stop that. But yeah, you know, fractures, concussions. I got Mawashigeri on my nose, and I kept fighting. Once I got, with Chris, the seventh dan, we got into a good one, and he did a Ushiro Mawashigeri, so round kick, but from the back, and it got me here, bam! And I went straight on the floor, and I got up, and I punched him, and I got him on the nose, and he started bleeding, and and I was... I don't remember if I was I think I was still a blue belt or a very early brown belt. And I remember the other black belts were like, it's from the 80s that nobody was able to make Chris bleed. Like, here you have my black belt. Like, I was like, and I was crying my eyes out because I knew that I hurt him. But I was so I was like, I'm so sorry, Chris. I'm so sorry. You know, he's my sensei. So, sorry, that's my dog.
No problem.
So it was really like this kind of shock a little bit that I got a black belt, a seventh dan so good that I made him bleed. And yeah, but yeah, MMA is just the same, you never know, like from the most unexpected person. And now I know that there is the whole thing about McGregor coming back on the floor with the other one. And yeah, I see also that Jack Paul, the guy that went against Tyson, like that was like,
yeah.
my face is saying a lot of things. I saw the match, and I think that Tyson was doing even less than when he's fighting with his own kids, because he was not doing absolutely anything. I don't know if that was rigged or what, but Jack Paul is one of those people that I'm like, yeah, come.
Yeah.
Nah,
there's a lot going on with him, and yeah, there's a lot of conspiracies and a lot of interesting thoughts.
I have to say something. At least on the human side, I like very much how he treats his girlfriend, because that's a kind of man that he is really the number one fan of his girlfriend, who's an athlete from the Netherlands, and he really roots for her. So on that thing, I appreciate him. On the fighting side, no.
Right on. Well, you gotta have at least one good quality. So very nice.
Nobody can be perfect.
Exactly. All right. So we're going to go ahead and move into what I call our lightning round here. So I've got a few little questions for you as we head towards wrapping up our time today.
All right.
So the very first question is, do you have a favorite technique?
Uchima Washigeri.
Very
Nobody
nice.
expect that. I swear nobody expect that. And it's super fast. Also, I'm a southpaw.
Okay.
People they freak out when they see me like getting guard. They already like the opposite, like the opposite. My sensei keeps on trying to correct me, but I always go back at the other side. So I'm a southpaw. So yeah, the Uchima Washigeri, it's my favorite. Then I have a very quite nice Yokogeri Keage, so side kick, very snappy. And as we're talking about punches, I would say Uraken. So
very nice.
Very nice.
Very nice. I like it. All right. Next question. Do you have a favorite form? Kata, I guess.
I did for years Basaidai, which also was the one I won my first championship. And then eventually, after 3 years, I decided to switch on Gion. Those are my to-go katas in competition. They're considered basic they're black belts kata, but they're considered basic, but I really like them because you have to be strong. If I have to talk more about the dynamic kind, I like very much MP because it has a jump. And now that I lost 11 kilos, the jumps are starting to look like jumps. Before I was just looking like a bumblebee trying to jump. And I would say also Unsu. But that's very complicated because it has the 360 jump and you need to land on your fingers like this. And, it's...
Very nice. All right. Next question. Do you have a favorite weapon?
I would say the bow. I'm quite good with the bow. Indeed, like I think that I could make a weapon out of any brooms or things. Like, yeah, if I was in the Hogwarts war, I would start like bowing everybody with my witchy broom, I think. And recently in Utrecht, I purchased a katana. And
nice.
I love to use it. I just have to be very careful because people apparently don't understand that if I'm slicing like a ninja, like the air is not safe to come anywhere close to that. But yeah, I hope they're not gonna learn it the hard way.
Yeah. Gotta be careful.
For everybody. Making sashimi out of people.
Very nice. Very nice. All right. Next question. If there is anyone that you could train with, living or dead, fictional or non-fictional, who would that be?
Ooh, that's an interesting one. I would say on the spiritual side, I would be deeply honored to train with Hiroshi Shirai because he has seen my grandpa, he has seen my dad, and this is something that it was on my bucket list to be able to train with him, but I never made it. Unfortunately, he passed, and I couldn't make it to train with him because I was already living abroad. On the nowadays, I would say Ryan Guzman. Like,
Okay. All right.
if
Very
he's
good.
down to spar, I mean,
Very nice.
he has to be careful.
Like it. I like it. I like it. I like it. All right. Our last question there is: what is something that always motivates you to train, and/or something that you want to share to motivate others to train? So I typically use the example of the movie Rocky IV. We have the training montage and the music going. He's running through the snow. He's lifting the rocks and all of that sort of thing. When I see that scene, I'm ready to hit the mats and get to training. So, what is something that motivates you to train, and/or something you want to motivate others?
Look, I would be a liar if I say that every time I'm motivated because sometimes I'm tired, and sometimes I most of my university exams, I don't understand why, but they happen always on Thursdays, which is when I also have trainings. So last time it was two exams in one day, contemporary history and cultural geography. And then I had the trainings. I was pretty much dead after that. But I have to say that you have to find the strength and the motivation in your spirit. It's the karate do. Like, you can be sick, you can be tired, you can be sad, you can be happy, you can be motivated, non-motivated, I was going to say you can be injured. Guys, don't do that. Don't follow my example. I'm a very bad example on that because I always show up even with cast on my fingers, injuries, etc. I have a shoulder which has been popping in and out. I don't know if but it cracks a lot, and
Mine
that's
does that too.
this shoulder has been giving me hell, but I learned how to pop it back in. Like, the black belts were like, did you just pop back in your own shoulder? I was like, yeah, of course. What would you expect? Like, when I was stunting with the motorcycle, this was happening every 5 minutes. Like, I can't stop a show like sorry, I have to go and pop back in my shoulder. I was just popping it back on my own. You may just see a little bit black. You may just have a little bit of nausea, but it's going to be fine, I promise. But you really have to find the motivation in you. Like, you can have a playlist. I really love music. I have a bunch of hip hop and R&B and then rock music that I listen to fully focus when I want to cut off the noise. But I do a lot of meditation, as we do mokuso. In karate, we always do at the end of each session a little bit of meditation, and that helps a lot. So you cannot fully rely on some kind of external motivations. You have to discipline yourself and push yourself, your body. Like, once your mind is trained, your body will just follow. Because you can be tired, physically tired, but if you say, I need to keep going, and you keep going, that's when you know that your mind has the complete control over yourself. And that's what I always try to explain to the lower belts, because when I see orange, blue, green belts, that they start to pray to see things that are not there during trainings, and push-ups on the knuckles, or punches, or getting conditioning and getting kicked and getting bruises and everything, and they start really struggling. Like, you have to tell them, you need to focus on in your mind, and then the body will follow the rest.
Very nice, very well said. I like that. All right, so we are at our very final piece of business for today, and that is the shameless self-promotion. So go ahead and plug anything that you'd like, or if there's anything that we haven't covered that you wanted to say, you now have the floor, and then we will close out our time from there.
Okay, thank you so much. Well, guys, you can follow me on Instagram, mainly at Barbara Fava FMX. It's still left from my stunt days, and I just have the same username everywhere, so they can just follow me there wherever they want. I'm more active on Instagram than on others. And I tend to answer to every comment and the message when people ask me for help or support, so just be patient, because sometimes it's a little bit overwhelming, but I promise I'll get back when I see that there's some kind of situation where people need help.
Very nice. Yeah, no, I am very thankful that we had a chance to have you on the show, and you definitely have a invitation to be on anytime in the future. Open invitation to be on anytime in the future.
Thank you so much.
Yeah, it's been just really, really great to learn about your story and all the wonderful things that you're doing. I will certainly continue to follow your training and all the things that you're doing. And I'm excited to get your story and be able to share it with my followers. So once again, thank you so much for taking the time to be on.
Thank you for the invitation. I really enjoyed our chit chat. Gossiping.
Oh yeah. Yeah, no, we will definitely have to have you back on later for part 2 and 3 and 12 and all that going forward. So
it's gonna be like one of those Mortal Kombat movies that they keep it's gonna be a franchise.
Hey, I like franchises, so
yeah, me too.
Very nice. All right, well, thank you so much.
Thank you. Bye.